At the time of recording this, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin released yesterday, and I absolutely loved it. I stayed up until 3 a.m. to play this game and downloaded it the second it came out, and I was playing it all the way up until around like 9-10 in the morning, so yeah, I beat this game in one sitting. And I do not regret a single thing, because you know what, I enjoyed it. This is probably my new favorite FNAF game, and I'm gonna explain why. So, like, I'll always be a defender of the base game of Security Breach. I think it's a pretty fun time. I like it personally. But, I mean, I also can't really hold it against people who don't like it because it's not that well made. The base game of Security Breach clearly had a lot of love and care put into it, but they just didn't have the time to finish it the way they wanted to, which left the game in a state where it's a big mess. It's a mess that I love, but it is a mess. But despite all that, I still did see the potential in it. I think the gameplay here, if it was fully developed, could have worked really well. And I think that a lot of the ideas at play here are very good. I think the Pizzaplex is an amazing environment, and I just think there's a lot to love about the game, even despite its issues. So I was hoping that when Security Breach released its DLC, Ruin, that it would expand on its own gameplay and basically fix the main game's issues and deliver just a much better experience for the DLC. Because I was a firm believer that if Security Breach was, in the state it's in, fully finished to the degree it was meant to be, then I think it could have been really great. And Ruin is basically a taste of what that would have been. Because this game is not only finished, but it's also polished, the story makes sense, the new gameplay mechanics are fun and creative. Ruin is everything I wanted from Security Breach, and I could not be happier. So let's get into it. Why is Ruin my new favorite FNAF game? Just a quick little note here, I was gonna divide this video into chapters, but I decided I was gonna mainly just focus on like the story, so just kind of ignore that chapter transition. It's not really. So let's start with the story. It starts off with Cassie, who is Gregory's best friend and a very big fan of the Fazbear brand. She's been called over by Gregory to come to the old Pizzaplex and try to find him. But upon arriving, she finds that Gregory isn't there, so then she goes inside to investigate. Then she finds a Roxy talkie to speak to Gregory through, and Gregory tells her that he is trapped in the sinkhole under Roxy Raceway, and that you have to go find him in order to save him. So already better than the base game, where you just kind of like plopped in, you're in Freddy's stomach hatch, how'd you get there? No, in this game, very clear setup. Cassie's coming because she thinks Gregory's there, Gregory's not there. She gets in contact with him through a walkie-talkie, finds out he's trapped, and now your objective is to save him. It's a very clear-cut startup to the game, and it makes a ton of sense. I'm so glad that they actually bothered to explain the setup to the game. I'm still baffled by how Security Breach started. So then we climb up an elevator shaft, go through a vent, and end up in the kitchen when the vent collapses, and now we're starting the adventure. This first kitchen area is absolutely disgusting, and I honestly love it, because, like, this place looks like it was just trashed. Like, there is rotten food everywhere. Chica has left this place in a terrible state. And we meet Chica a little bit after with the first jump scare in the game. And she is kind of just chilling here. I'm not really sure why she grabs us, then just kind of powers down, but okay. Then after you get out of the kitchen, you walk past this hallway with more disgusting trash, and then you go down the staircase, which has the only appearance of the blob in this entire DLC. Yup, that little thing, that's it. That's the only screen time the blob gets here, which is very strange. I feel like they definitely have plans for the blob in the future, but it's still really strange how, like, he's there. They just straight up show him. He is here, but he's not doing anything. He doesn't try to go after us at any point. It's very strange. But what this does tell us is that the blob has escaped the sinkhole, which is very interesting. Then we travel through this utilidor for a bit, then we end up face to face with Monty, who pushes us into the water, then we end up flowing through all the way to Monty Golf. Then when we arrive at Monty Golf, we climb under a few destroyed mini-golf holes, then we end up face to face with Mapbot, or as he's named now, Maskbot. who, like, this design is hilarious. Like, they literally just cut the metal and tore it forward to give him bunny ears. That is hilarious. But he gives us our security mask, which is what it's called in the game, but it's clearly just the Vanny mask from Help Wanted, but this time it has some technology inside of it. So then Cassie gets a brain implant done by Helpy, which is which hooks her up to the Vanny network, which basically lets her see things that aren't actually in the real world, you know, like what AR is supposed to do. But it also makes objects that are in the real world disappear so she can walk through them. I don't know if that's how AR works, but, okay, I'm not gonna question it too much. That's just kind of how this game works. It's a cool game mechanic. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's also, like, teleportation involved. This mask is probably, like, the most sci-fi thing this series has ever had. It is wacky. Alright, so now at this point in the video, I should probably give a fair warning that I am going to be diving headfirst into spoilers. If you saw the thumbnail, I don't know why you care about spoilers and clicked on it, but okay. I'm gonna be going right into spoilers, so if you don't want to see that, So not long after, once we're further into Monty Golf, we come face to face with one of the major antagonists of this DLC, which is this silly little bunny man with this Greek god chin. And, his name is Mexus. He's a new rabbit character. I think you're supposed to think he's Glitch Trap, but it's kind of like a bait and switch, like, oh, wow, he's Glitch Trap, but nope, he's actually a new bunny. His name is Mexus. But, yeah, he's basically, like, I'll get into it later when we get in that point in the story, but, yeah, for now, basically what he does is he looms around and he doesn't like what you're doing, and he wants to send the other animatronics to you to kill you because you're doing something that he does not like. That thing you're doing being shutting down all the security in the Pizzaplex, or the security nodes, and you don't know why you're doing this, but Gregory wants you to do it, and it's supposedly going to set him free, so obviously Cassie is going to listen to Gregory, but this bunny guy does not want Cassie to be turning off the security. So after we shut down the security nodes in Monty Golf, we end up with some Monty mischief going on, then we end up encountering some mysterious Nightmare On plushies, and then we end up in the Superstar Daycare.
Monty, it's time for your nap. No nightmare.
So the more linear progression style in this game, it lends the story a lot more room to just develop naturally, and I really like it a lot, because I think this just is already way better than how the base game handled the story. This is just like, I was enjoying the game very much at this point. So then we meet Sun with some more amazing Kellen Goff voice acting.
Friend? No, friend! I am trapped in a nap! Reboot! We need to be whole!
Who tells us he's trapped in a nap because Moon is trying to take control, and we need to reboot him so we can stop Moon. Kinda sad the daycare attendant doesn't have any actual story significance here, and he's basically just a side quest, but it's still nice to see him again. So then we head to the daycare, turning on the generators while Gregory verbally harasses us.
There! You did it! Look! He's stuck! He's stuck! Go, go, go! Hurry! Go fix it! Use your fast friend! Go!
So then we reboot the daycare attendant, killing Moon and introducing us to his third side, who surprisingly isn't a total freak.
Happy birthday! Warning, warning! Child in danger! Safety mode active. Little girl, you can't be in here. It's dangerous. I need to clean up before we can open in the morning. Oh, this place will be flooded with kids. Come back soon and have a fazerific day.
Now we go through some endoskeletons who seem to be afraid of the Vanny mask, which is, strange. Either they're afraid of they can't see us when we wear it, I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, we get inside the daycare theater, yada yada yada, do a node thing, get a big endo, just like a giant endo on the screen. I don't know what's up with this guy. Then you go down his throat, and Cassie has a pretty severe reaction to being stuck in a pit that literally has bars that she could just climb up with like a ladder. So I don't know why she feels so trapped in here, but she is very concerned about it.
I'm stuck! Help!
One bit of Marvel writing later,
This vent is creaky. I really hope it's...
and we're in a Monty Golf ride, which explains to us the story of how Glamrock Bonnie got replaced by Monty. Or at least the cartoon universe's story. I don't think this is how the actual animatronic thing went, but this is surely how it went for how the actual, like, how they explained it to the kids, which is cool. We also get our first look at Glamrock Bonnie ever, and I like his design quite a bit. I know some people who don't really like the color palette and stuff that on him, which, you know, I understand that, but I think he looks alright. There's a model of him seen later in an Easter egg, and yep, that sure is a Glamrock Bonnie. We also find out Monty used to have like a full head of hair, and that's just funny. So then we end up in the Monty Golf catwalks, which we end up doing some like teleportation, which kind of interesting. I don't know how that works, but cool.
Ugh, I'm gonna puke. How did I get over here?
I could have my Gucci all.
Then eventually we end up in this weird like digital hallway where the bunny man tries to attack us, but then he gets blocked by some firewall. And then Helpy and Gregory tell us that they were able to block him off and that he won't bother us anymore. I'm sure that'll last. So then we end up in Chica's bakery where... And then we end up just doing some more basic stuff for this DLC in Chica's bakery, which is neat to see that location again. Then escape there and end up in wobbly digital server room land. I have no idea what's going on in this section, but we just kind of go through, do a few puzzles, then we meet up with the bunny dude, who we have to do a puzzle really quickly to end up escaping in time, and then we just kind of leave and end up going to the raceway. And then we meet up with Roxy, learn that Cassie has a sort of a past with Roxy, and we learn a bit more about her relationship with Gregory. So yeah, Roxy was clearly her favorite character, and she clearly spent a lot of time with Roxy at her time with the Pizzaplex. And then we find out that Gregory was a very good friend of hers, but then he goes missing, and that just kind of breaks her. So then after that bit of lore, we find the remains of an old Foxy log ride at the Pizzaplex, which I'm not sure if this implies that there was originally a Foxy animatronic at the Pizzaplex, or there was gonna be a Foxy animatronic at the Pizzaplex, but it's very interesting to think about. Although, either way, I don't think it's straight up a Glamrock Foxy. I think it's probably just a Foxy-themed attraction, because he is still a character that Fazbear owns. It's similar to how Music Man has his own attraction, even though he's not, like, a character in the main band. So then we meet up with Monty again, who actually acts like a real gator and goes under the water and stuff, which I thought was really cool how they actually, like, played into how he is an alligator. Well, then we kill Monty. He doesn't come back after this, so I'm just gonna assume he's dead. So then we end up in Roxy Raceway, where Gregory actually tries to contact us through a staff bot.
Cassie, is that you? Gregory?
Kinda weird considering Gregory presumably has access to us through the Vanny network anyway. Why would he be trying to contact us through a staff bot? It's almost like the Gregory we're trying to save isn't the real Gregory. So then when we make it to Roxy Raceway, we have to use audio of Gregory to help lure Roxy towards breaking the doorways for us so we can make it through the raceway. Jump scared by a car! Roxy attacks us wanting her eyes back, thinking we're Gregory, but then when Cassie tells her to stop, she actually listens and says that there was an error. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting there.
Give me back my eyes!
Ah! Let go! Let go!
I'm sorry. Error.
Shows that Roxy has a specific thing against Gregory and no other kid. Which, I mean, how can you blame her? Look at this nerd. Then we had the Bonnie Bowl, do a bunch of stuff with Music Men that was kind of confusing because some Music Men exist in the real world and some of them exist in the AR world. I'll get into that when we go to the gameplay section, which isn't going to be nearly as long as this section, but, you know, do that section. Then we find Bonnie's green room, which surprisingly has none of his own merchandise in it, unlike the other characters. He only has Freddy stuff, and he's even got a Freddy poster with writing from Freddy on it that says, "You and me forever and ever, love Freddy." So, yeah, Freddy and Bonnie, there's some going on with them, and you know what? I'm happy for them. Then we fall through some kind of weird digital tube thing, and then the bunny guy shows up at the bottom, then we see the Princess Quest sword. Now we're in Phaser Blast, and we find this weird air vent that has things written inside of it with graffiti like Bad Bear and Phaz Fiend. I don't know who's doing graffiti inside of an air vent. Seems kind of like you're gonna suffocate in there, but okay. So then we find what appears to be Freddy's body from when Gregory took his head and left his body there. And then the body comes to life and starts chasing us. Or is it Freddy's body? There's something very interesting to be noted about this Freddy, and it's that the bottom of his foot says prototype on it, which the original Glamrock Freddy in the game did not have this. And you can't really make the argument that the paint scratched off, because this is colored plastic. That's not really how that stuff works. You can also note that the present box in his chest is a different color and it's not opened, meaning that nobody's redeemed the Phaz Watch from this Freddy. So this can't be the same Freddy that Gregory teamed up with. Just something interesting to point out, this could be a whole theory for another day, so I won't get too far into it. But yeah, Prototype Freddy is a little bit of a weird dude in this DLC. I'm not really sure what's up with him, but there certainly is something up with him. We then make it back to Roxy Raceway, where Gregory tells us on the walkie-talkie that Roxy is the final node and we need to deactivate her. Now obviously because of Cassie's connection to Roxy, she doesn't want to do this, but then she does anyway because she wants to save Gregory. Then there's this really cute moment with Roxy, then, you know, just jab it in her eye, kill her.
You remember me? Your special day. I remember. Your special day. Do you still like carrot cake? It has been some time since I saw you last. If I remember correctly, it is on the 11th. I remember because you are number 1. Twice.
But now we're headed back down to the sinkhole. Oh my goodness. Are we going to see Burn Trap? Are we going to see the Blob? Nope. Better. And then we find the elevator under the Roxy Raceway, so then we go down and into the sinkhole to see what's up down there. And then we end up going to just a cave. Like, this is just a big cave. This is just a cave. This is literally just a cave. And we pick up a Phaz token, which is very strange. Then we enter the pizzeria and we get another Phaz token. Then we get another Phaz token, another Phaz token, another Phaz token. And then we end up encountering the Candy Cadet, where we give him our tokens and he tells us a story. Seeing this guy again is really freaking cool. Like, I wasn't expecting it at all, but I'm honestly completely not against it because I think he's cool. I like seeing him again. Although his design is a bit different than how it was in FNAF 6, but yeah, he tells us this story.
Now I will tell you a story about a mother and her little boy who lived alone in a cabin in the dark woods. There was a monster in the woods, but the mother caught it and kept it locked in the basement. The monster always made scary noises at night, but the mother would tell the boy not to worry because it could never get out. Then she would sing the boy a lullaby to sleep. One day, the monster stopped calling and instead listened and learned the lullaby. The next day when Mother went out to find food, the monster sang the lullaby from the basement. The little boy heard the lullaby and opened the door.
So we're gonna get into what I think the story is about a bit later in the video, because what I think it's about is heavily tied to the ending, which we obviously haven't gotten to yet. So then we head down some stairs and end up in Burntrap's room. And if you remember the Burntrap ending, this room should be collapsed, but it's not, which is very interesting. And considering we saw the Princess Quest sword stabbed through the arcade machine earlier, I think it's pretty safe to say that the Burntrap ending wasn't canon, and it was actually the Princess Quest ending where we save Vanessa. And the fact that the room isn't collapsed isn't the only bit of evidence, because a little bit after we find a comic book page drawn by Gregory of the Burntrap ending, which would imply that it didn't actually happen and it's just something that Gregory made up. Similar to all the other comic pages that we find throughout the game that show different endings to the base game. The only one that there isn't a comic page for is the Princess Quest ending, which I think makes it pretty clear that that was the ending that actually happened. We then find this strange room with a large blocked-off doorway. We find this computer and shut off the security protocols, finally killing the security rabbit, who we now find out his name is Mexus. We power a forklift, smash through the concrete blocking the room, and enter in to get probably one of the most hype cutscenes in any FNAF game for me. Like, I was freaking out during this. This was so cool.
You saved me! You saved me. Gregory? I'm Gregory. You're not Gregory. What are you?
I'm Gregory.
Get out of here! Run!
It's the freaking Mimic! It's the Mimic from the books! It's the Mimic who likes chocolate chip ice cream and white tigers. It's that one. It's literally no parallels, no bullcrap. It is straight up. That is the Mimic. And I am so happy they just full sent it. They put the Mimic in the game. He's here and he's canon now. And I couldn't be happier because I love this character in the books and stuff. So I'm so happy to see him come here. Our months and months of theorizing about him being the true next villain for the series have all amounted to us being completely right, and that's so cool to me. So then we enter a chase scene with the Mimic. So, like, the Mimic's design, the way it moves, the speed it has, is so accurate to how he's portrayed in the books, which makes me so happy that they're finally just giving us a straight-up answer to something, and I love that. He's just completely ripped off the Afton persona, and now we just have a true new villain, and I think it's super cool to see that. Then he chases us for a bit, and we end up cornered by an elevator where we have to try to open the doors to the elevator in time before he ends up catching us because he's slowly going towards us from behind us. So then when we activate the elevator, we slam him out and we cut off his arm in the process, which was pretty cool. So now that we found out that Gregory was actually the Mimic underground and we weren't actually saving the real Gregory and the Mimic was trying to trick us into letting him free, Gregory comes on the thing to tell us this.
You were never supposed to go to the Pizzaplex. That thing in the sinkhole tricked you. I really don't know what it is, but it's been trapped down here a really long time. The Nexus security program was designed to keep it hidden, but you shut down the security. And now it's free. It's not your fault. I know you did it for me. To save me. But we can't risk being followed. I'm sorry.
Gregory? No!
So yeah, that's how the game ends. That's how it ends. Cassie falls down the elevator, and I don't think she died. I don't think she died, because there's an end credits scene where Roxy says Cassie's name, so I feel like if she died, that'd be really weird, I think they're definitely leading up to something being down where she fell, and that's going to be like a new game or something. There's definitely something going on there. There was something in the files about a carnival, which is interesting. But yeah, Cassie falls down the elevator. Gregory does this to prevent him from being followed, him and Vanessa. And yeah. So I think Candy Cadet's story was about Gregory and Vanessa going down there and sealing off the Mimic. But then Cassie gets lured down by the Mimic. And then, yeah. It's definitely the most straightforward of meanings for the Candy Cadet stories. I think it's pretty easy to interpret what he's talking about. I was hooked on the story the whole way through. I loved all the new characters. I loved everything that it showed off. I loved the Mimic. I loved the ending. I loved... Just like... This is so intriguing. And I'm so happy to see the direction that the series is going from here. So... yeah, definitely expect more videos on Ruin, just, like, theories and stuff about things, because, like, I'm not going to get into, like, the secret endings in this video, because I think that I should save that for a different video, especially with how long this video already is. Quick summary of, like, the gameplay mechanics for Ruin. I think that a lot of people were saying that the gameplay mechanics for this DLC were pretty repetitive, and I can definitely see where that criticism is coming from, but I personally wasn't all too bothered by it. I thought that finding nodes and stuff around the environments was really cool, especially because exploring the environments was one of my favorite parts of the base game, and that was barely even like a thing that you had to do. But in this game, they turned it into a mechanic, and I think that's pretty cool. I really liked finding the security nodes and stuff, although the door puzzles did get a bit repetitive at times. The mechanic with Mexis showing up when you go in the AR world could have been a bit more well developed, but I think it was executed on pretty well. He is pretty threatening, and the threat of constantly having an animatronic coming towards you if Mexis catches you is pretty scary. They successfully made a looming threat, which is not what they did with Vanny. A ton of the visuals with the AR world and the real world were super cool. It's just like, overall, I really have few negatives to say about this DLC because I overall really enjoyed my time with it, and it's free. If you own the base game, this DLC is free, which is great. Like, if you have the game, go download this DLC. It's completely free, and it's freaking awesome. I think it's 1000% worth playing. Is it worth buying the base game for? I guess it depends on how interested you are in playing the base game. But I think it's probably worth it. Maybe wait till the game goes on sale, but yeah, I think if you're able to play Ruin, definitely play Ruin, because it is definitely a worth it experience to go through. And yeah, it's probably my new favorite FNAF game. This is my updated FNAF tier list I'm showing on screen right now. So, yeah, bingo card, by the way. I made this bingo card a while back and I filled it out. So, yeah, very interesting stuff got filled out with this bingo card. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. And, yeah, I'll be doing a lot more Ruin stuff soon, so stay tuned.